What is going on, everybody? What is going on, everybody? Whoa! What did we just watch? The special teams. It wasn't good. It was not good. The Orange Blossom Classic 2023 has just wrapped up. Jackson State took a loss to FAMU. FAMU with a dominating 28-10 win over JSU. JSU had to switch quarterbacks. FAMU came and made things happen. FAMU's running game was outstanding. Let's talk about it and more. And I want to hear from you guys after the bumper. What is going on, everybody? What is going on, everybody? My name is JeffLightsyJr. This is the Victory Formation Sports Show right here on JeffLightsYjr. YouTube, Facebook, wherever you get your content. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button as you come into the room, because we're here today to talk about the Orange Blossom Classic that just ended, literally just wrapped up over in Miami. Someone's asking, why is Joshua Short now? I don't know. They could have used him. They could have used him. They could have used the whole Short family, because that first half of that game was disgusting by the Tigers. It was just flat out disgusting. FAMU came to them and they were the bullies. FAMU came to them and they were the aggressors. FAMU came to them and they said, we are not losing this game this year. And that's what happened. I mean, that's just what happened. JSU boys looked out of sync. They looked a lot more than out of sync. They looked, that was tough. Said, I'm just leaving the game. I told you, fam. You did. You did. And there were fam people that came on this show and said, yeah, all that stuff you did against South Carolina State, you won't be able to do against us. And people laughed at them. People didn't believe them. People said, man, did you just watch what we did on ABC primetime against South Carolina State, the team that beat us in 2021? We're going to do y'all the same way. That was not the case. That wasn't the case at all. Team looked look night and day. Yes, they did. And let's talk about that. So we're talking about the game, the Orange Blossom Classic. I like the fact they didn't lay down the second half. Shout out to FAMU. They didn't lay down. I'm gonna get to your comments. So let's talk about the game. So the game starts off. The first 10 seconds of the game, FAMU runs back a kick return, 96 yards. The transfer from Bethune-Cookman, Mr. Riley, and he is a player. He is a player. He goes out there. He was doing his thing on special teams. He runs back a kickoff. It's like I blinked and there was 7-0. It's like, whoa, what the hell just happened? How did they run back a kick? And JSU from the opening kick looked out of sync. Jason Brown from the jump looked out of sync. I don't know what it was. Jason Brown just was not seeing the field. Irv Mulligan was the biggest and brightest spot about JSU. Their running game in Irv Mulligan, you didn't see Seven McGee. You could have used him. You didn't see J.D. Martin. You probably could have used him. And your offensive line got dominated. The two biggest surprises and the biggest things moving forward for FAMU, the takeaways from this game, if you're a Rattler fan, is the fact that your O-line looked really, really good. Your D-line reset the line of scrimmage every single play. FAMU's defensive line was outstanding. Their whole entire defense. But specifically, I want to point out their defensive line because they were resetting the line of scrimmage. The line of scrimmage was getting moved to the JSU backfield. The line of scrimmage was getting moved to the opposing backfield. Irv Mulligan, for as impressive as he was, he had to make a lot of chicken salad out of chicken, you know what. And then, of course, the running game. The running game for FAMU was something that Coach Simmons came on this here platform and told me will be different. Coach Simmons told me their run game and the way the lack of being able to run the ball last year was disappointing and it was embarrassing. He said he went out and got better offensive linemen. He went out and got transfer running backs. He went out and revamped his offense so that way he will not be dead last in running the ball again in the SWAC. And that was the case. That was the case. And Mr. Cherie, hello. Welcome to the world, Jamari Cherie. That's not to say you had 500 yards last year. You were a player, but you were a player today, sir. Number 10, Jamari Cherie for FAMU, MVP of the game. MVP of the game. The MVPs, if I had helmet, you know, back in the day, ESPN College used to have helmet stickers that they would give out. And if I had a helmet sticker, one would go to would go to Mr. Cherie. He's got to get one by himself. The FAMU defense gets a helmet sticker. And Mr. Riley gets a helmet sticker. Now, JSU, everything, like as bad as your special teams play today, that's got to be concerning. I mean, you blocked 2 kicks. And even with 2 kicks blocked, you could only come up with 10 points. You gave up a kick return for a touchdown. You gave up 2 big punt returns by Jamari Cherie. 2 big punt returns. Like, quit kicking him the ball. Quit kicking. You're out. The punter, Matt, no, this is no disrespect to No because he's a good punter, but he was out kicking his coverage. He literally was kicking the ball too damn far. He was kicking it too far. Cherie was getting a running start and watching holes open up and just making plays. So this is something that JSU is going to have to learn. They got to go back to the drawing board. And now with the play of Zy McDonald, because your offense didn't get any sparks until Zy came into the game. And now because of the play of Zy McDonald, do you have to consider a quarterback change? So for those who didn't catch the game, Jason Brown wasn't having his best night. After having a career night last week, he was not having his best night. He gets hit on the hand. He's clearly dealing with a hand injury. They insert Zy McDonald, and now you have a breath of fresh air. Now you had a drive that led to a field goal. You had a touchdown pass, a bomb thrown by McDonald, and then you looked like you were about to score some more points before the fumble was called on Irv Mulligan. Leave it in the chat. What were your thoughts on that fumble? That fumble. SWAC refs, come on, man. Come on. You can't. It can't be that blatantly obvious that there wasn't a freaking fumble. I mean, everybody at home, the camera angles that we had at home showed us that it wasn't a fumble. The camera angles that we had. So how is it that us at home watching the game, us at home on our TVs, us at home can clearly see that it wasn't a fumble, and you guys call it a fumble on the field? That's crazy. Now, that's not to take away, and that's the thing. That's what's unfortunate about that bad call, because now you'll have some people, and rightfully so, I guess to some extent, say, oh, that fumble killed our momentum. Oh, that fumble changed things in the game, because JSU was driving. They were in the red zone. They were looking to get their 3rd scoring drive under Zy McDonald. You fumbled the ball. You never get it back. You never get the ball back after that fumble. Now, credit to FAMU, because they took the ball and just hit you in the mouth with that 3-headed monster that is the running backs that they have on their roster. They have a 3-headed monster at running back. They do. Coach Simmons came on this here platform and told me that they have some dogs in the running back room. The call number is on the screen. 727-731-8723. I want to hear your thoughts on the game. 727-731-8723 is on the screen if you want to get in here. I do want to hear your thoughts on the game. I have to say congratulations to Coach Simmons. Coach Simmons, ever since Self-Inflicted, he came on this here show and said Self-Inflicted people have been giving him the blues. And he told me that last year's game was a fluke and it will not happen again this year. He was right. What's going on with Jeff? What's going on, person? What's on your mind? Yes. Absolutely. Okay. I absolutely appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much. So you guys said you can't hear the caller. So let me go ahead and try to fix that. But as I try to, alter that, this is going to be interesting, because if you're Jackson State, and sorry about that, guys, you couldn't hear the caller. I apologize for that. We got some new equipment in here, so we're trying to figure things out. But with that loss, what does that loss do for you the rest of the season? Because you still have a season to go. You have Southern next week. You have, like I said, FAMU, this can catapult you to a SWAC championship. You go out and do what you've done the previous 2 seasons besides lose to Jackson State, then you will be able to make things happen. You will see yourself hosting a SWAC championship game in Tallahassee. Now, for Jackson State, you're going to need some luck. You're going to need FAMU to fall. You're also going to have to go back to the drawing board and figure out how to stop the run. Because Jackson State this year, two things that has happened in the past that isn't happening this year. One, they can't really create any pressure on the quarterback. That they're not getting sacks. The last 2 years, they've led the country in sacks. The last 2 years, they've been the premier pass rushing team in all of FCS football. That's not happening right now. You're not getting any pressure on quarterbacks. If Musa completes a couple of passes that he should have completed, by the way, it wasn't like he should have. He missed some throws. He doesn't miss those throws. You're talking about not a 28 points, but 42 points, 49 points. He missed some throws. You're not getting any pressure on the quarterback like you have in previous years, and you can't stop the run. What is up with these 3-man defensive fronts and giving guys running lanes? Like South Carolina State, the only success that they had at times last week were running the ball, was when they decided to run the ball. When they got down, they couldn't run it as much because they were trying to play catch up. But when they ran the ball, at times they had success. FAMU ran the hell out of the ball today and had all kinds of success. FAMU made things happen today that quite frankly shouldn't be happening. FAMU did things to your defense, that I didn't expect for as talented of the guys. And then, so you're not stopping the run with those 3-man fronts. And then your secondary is allowing the best player on the field today was Jamari Cherie. Why is he running wide open? Why is it that there are plenty of plays that I'm watching of him just do whatever he wants on the field? Literally doing whatever he wants all across the field. That's tough. That is tough. It is tough to stop a team when you allow their best player to do whatever he wants. It is tough to stop a team when you're not stopping anything. Like I said, if Musa has a better game, they score more. They didn't score in this. And see, I will say that you didn't allow a point in the second half. Your defense stepped it up in the second half. But when you needed to get a stop after the bad fumble call, when you needed to get a stop, you couldn't stop them. FAMU started that drive, that last 4-minute drive. They took up 4 or 5 minutes on the last drive. That last 4-minute drive, FAMU started inside their own 20 inside their own red zone and finished at the 2-yard line. Think about that. They drove the length of the field without throwing one pass. Knowing that, and you being Jackson, knowing that they had to run the ball, couldn't stop it. You couldn't stop it when it mattered. That's not to say there just wasn't enough time for you to come back, but you damn sure could have made things interesting. Not being able to stop the ball is tough. Stop the run is tough, especially going against Southern next week, who has a very just based off first game, has a very, very limited passing attack and is going to try to run the hell out of the ball. The 3-man fronts aren't good. They haven't looked good at all. The 3-man fronts have been getting exposed the last 2 games. This FAMU, one thing about FAMU is we knew going into this game, or at least I knew going into this game, they weren't trash. I mean, FAMU's a good football team. You had to know that facing FAMU, you were going to be facing a better team than the one you played in against South Carolina State. Like, you had to know that. If you didn't think FAMU was a better team than South Carolina State, that was your fault. That was bad on you. Like, if you thought you was playing a FAMU team that was going to line up like South Carolina State, if you thought you was playing a FAMU team that was similar to the South Carolina State team that you played last week, you quickly found out. From that first kickoff return, you quickly found out. From them first 3 going down 28-0, you quickly found out. 28. FAMU scored. Like, do you guys realize FAMU scored 21 points in the first quarter? Outside of the first quarter, they only scored 1 more touchdown. But the first quarter was so bad. The first quarter was so bad that you put yourself in a deficit you just quite frankly couldn't overcome. Now I have a question. I wish I could get my call line working. I don't know what's going on. I do have a question though. To everybody to all the JSU fans. And by the way, hit that thumbs up button. We're in here a couple hundred deep. Do you switch gears? Do you go to Zai? Is Zai the move? Or is it too early to abandon your quarterback? Think about this. Jason Brown, even before the injury, Jason Brown didn't look good. He wasn't seeing the field well. He looked nervous. It looked like the lights may have been too bright. It's just what it looked like. I'm not saying that's what the case was, but it just looked like this game, he didn't look good at all this game. Then he gets hurt. His hand is messed up. He can't, and then after that, all of his passes were bad. Like once his hand got messed up, it was just like, okay, it's time. Like he's more of a detriment than a help to the team. That's just from my perspective. You put in Zai McDonald. The one thing about Zai, first of all, Zai throws a beautiful ball. Zai McDonald throws a beautiful ball. And then he gives you an element of run. He has the running element. Tigers got bit. And we're going to talk about FAMU in a second. We're definitely going to talk because we got to give Coach Willie Simmons his flowers. But with Zai McDonald, is it time to make a switch? Do you make a switch the second game of the season? I don't know, but you have to incorporate Zai McDonald moving forward. Back over to FAMU. Yo, this is your year. This is your year to make it happen. Everything that you told me, Coach Simmons, that would be different, it was different. Coach Simmons stood 10 toes down on his word. He told me last year was a fluke. It was self-inflicted. You will see a completely different FAMU team this year. And the two things that he told me were different were the fact that they upgraded their offensive line and they upgraded their running back room. Let me repeat that. They upgraded their offensive line. They upgraded their running back room. That was clear. This is your time, though. You cannot go from this win and be disappointing in your next game. You cannot take a win like this and just rest on your laurels. You have to be able to capitalize on this moment. FAMU has enough firepower to go out and beat the hell out of every SWAC team. Let me repeat that. FAMU has enough. What I saw today from FAMU against JSU, they have enough firepower to go out each and every single week and beat the hell out of every single SWAC team. Because from what I seen week one, the SWAC offense, now granted, it's week one. It is 1 week. The SWAC offenses aren't there yet. I'm going to say yet, but they aren't there yet. FAMU's offense is there. They scored 21 in the first quarter. They should have had 40 at halftime. They left so many points on the board. As dominant of a victory that this was over JSU, you have a lot to still work on. And that's the beautiful thing of being of what Coach Simmons, because you got to think about it. FAMU coming into this game, one, they got the hell beat out of them 59-3 by Jackson State last year. Two, they had the whole controversy with the Boston Richie stuff, shooting videos and cursing and stuff in the locker room. Like all of that stuff was still lingering over this FAMU team, lingering over Coach Simmons, lingering over this FAMU program. Then Scotty coins a term that everybody loves to use, Willie gone Willie. So when Jackson State scores 10 unanswered points, you're like, whoa. And they're driving. They score 10 unanswered points and they're driving. They're in the red zone. It's like, damn, is this Willie gone Willie thing really about to happen? Is this Willie gone Willie thing really about to, am I really about to watch a comeback? And you get a lucky call. Let's call it what it is. Calls happen. Calls go against teams all the time in football. It's unfortunate, but that's part of the game. So you get a lucky call, that fumble call, and all you did was run out the rest of the clock. That is big boy smash mouth football. To take that ball and essentially drive like 90 yards. You drove like 80 some odd yards, 90 yards, play big boy football, and ran out the rest of the clock. Ran out the remaining 4 minutes, 4.5, 5 minutes. That's tough. So now you still have a lot to work on. Because Musa's okay. Musa's okay. But the star of this FAMU offense is going to be that O-line and those backs. That O-line, those backs, and get the ball to number 10. That O-line, those running backs, all three of them, number 1, number 23, number 9, all three of them, 1, 9, 23. and get the ball to number 10, Jamari Sharif. You do that, you should beat every SWAC team by 2 touchdowns. If you do that, you should beat every single SWAC team by 2 touchdowns. That's just a fact. That is just from what I've seen based off week 1, your week 1 versus everybody else's week 1. The only SWAC team that really showed any signs of offense was Grambling with Miles Crawley. They was really the only team that had any signs of offense. Now the teams won. Alabama State won impressively. They beat Southern at home. You know, Prairie View and Texas Southern had some offense in their game. I take that back. That game was like 37-34. So there was some offense in that game. I just don't believe in those teams over FAMU. I don't believe in those 2 teams over FAMU. This FAMU team and the FAMU defense was flying all over the field. Did it not seem like there was like 12 Rattlers, 13, 14 Rattlers on the field at all times? Especially when Jason Brown was in the game. There's no disrespect to Jason Brown, but when he was in the game, it felt like FAMU was just way faster. The JSU speed that I saw last week, it seemed like it got negated on the field of FAMU. FAMU guys were flying all over the ball. FAMU guys were making plays. The only thing FAMU couldn't do was kick field goals. They couldn't block for field goals. Outside of the bad blocking from the field goal unit, because that's 6 points right there that's taken off the board that could potentially been on your side. So you missed 6 points on those. Musa missed some easy throws, and even Willie Simmons said it at halftime. He said, our quarterback's got to settle down. You know, he's got the throws. The play calls are being made. The guys are open. You just got to be able to hit the guys. You got to be able to make the plays. You got to be able to make the reads. You got to be able to see these guys and see what they do. Get the ball in their hands. You see good things are happening when you get the ball in Riley's hands, when you get the ball in Cherie's hands. You get the ball in all 3 of those backs' hands. Cardell Thomas, LSU transfer, great game. Offensive line, great game. Miles Crawley, secret weapon. And the thing about Miles Crawley, he turned it up in the second half of their game against Hampton. Because I was watching the first half, he did not. The Grambling offense still looked real shaky. But in that second half, he turned it up. He looked really, really good in that game. I even got a tweet from a Jackson State supporter. And shout out to you guys for hitting it. You know, we're a couple hundred deep in here. Hit that thumbs up button, by the way. Hit that like button, because we're talking about the Orange Blossom Classic, the 2023 version of the Orange Blossom Classic. The last year the FAMU will play in the Orange Blossom Classic. And they went out with a bang. You know, I guess I should have been able to put it together more. You've got a FAMU guy that got inducted to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Ken Riley. Shout out to Ken Riley Sr., inducted this year to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He, posthumously, even though it's way overdue. He's got 65 career interceptions, the most ever with one team, the 5th most in NFL history. They're just now putting him in the Hall of Fame. That's unfortunate. At the same time, they wore his decal, his initials on the back of their helmets. That's one thing. 2, this is the last year the FAMU will play in the Orange Blossom Classic as we know it. This is the last year that they will play. They will not play in 2024. Jackson State will play one more year, and then the Orange Blossom Classic will have to figure things out. And so with this, representing Ken Riley and his family, you've got your last year playing in the OBC, and you've got your coach you got to stand behind. Because you got to remember, the jokes that were made about Willie Simmons, and rightfully so, the jokes that were made about Coach Simmons and the whole self-inflicted thing that he said right here on this show, that lasted the entire offseason. From the day he said that and from the day I put out that clip, that has been talked about over and over, and rightfully so. So many jokes, so many memes, so many people wanted to make t-shirts, all of this stuff about self-inflicted. And once again, rightfully so, because you can't just say a 59-3 is all self-inflicted. But he promised me, he told me this game would be different. This game would be different. And I'm like, Coach, you know what I'm saying? That's a lot to stand on. You got to stand on that, Coach. Your team gonna have to stand on that, because Coach Simmons don't play. Coach Simmons is the coach. Your team, you can say that all you want, but your team is going to have to stand on those words, Coach. And all they did was come out, score 21 points in the first quarter, win 28-10. Coach team backed them up. Running game heavy. Cherie looks like a star. Defense flying all over the ball. Coach Simmons. Shout out to Coach Simmons. Now, I did see this. So FAMU has a couple of parody accounts on Twitter, by the way, or X or whatever you want to call it. Hit that thumbs up button, by the way. We're in here deep, and I got to figure out the call line. But on Twitter, or there's a couple of FAMU parody accounts. There's one called the Parody Rattler, and there's another one called Willie Simmons Visor. Now, this is what the Parody Rattler had to say, because we know the TC Taylor quote is "they don't know." He's been saying that. He said that at SWAC Media Day when only one person from JSU was cited on the all SWAC team preseason. And this is what the Rattler, these are how the Rattlers feel about Coach TC Taylor and some of the JSU supporters. This was when Coach TC was introduced as the new head coach. They got this picture. Then they had this picture of our girl Timona. She Loves Thee, the She Loves Thee podcast. They got her with the Jordan face as well. And then they got our friends over there at the Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club, Ken, Zoe, Day, and Miss Rochelle. And then they letting the jokes fly. They letting them fly. You know, fam, you've been waiting on this moment for 20 years. Y'all tell me, fam, you've been waiting on this moment for 20 some odd years. They hadn't beat Jackson State, I don't think, since 2003. So 20 years they've been waiting to get them jokes off. Last year, they've been waiting 365 days to rebound from a 59-3, destroying of them in Miami. So, yeah, they letting the jokes fly. They are letting them fly. They're letting them go hard because they're feeling real good. and this puts them in the driver's seat for the SWAC championship game. This puts them in the driver's seat for a chance to represent the SWAC in the Celebration Bowl. This puts them in the driver's seat to actually win the entire thing. Something that they just, by this time, the last 2 years, their whole destiny was based on if Jackson State would lose. Now it's not, it's Jackson State's destiny is based on if FAMU loses. FAMU's in the driver's seat. But what they can't do is get complacent. Did we see any of that in Jackson State this week? Was there complacency issues with JSU because they had such a dominating victory on national TV in their coach's first game in front of the world, 1 million people watching at home, sold out stadium in Atlanta, 25,000 in the building? Were they complacent? Were they on too much of a high? Was there too much euphoria in their team, in their locker room based off what they did last year? What was any of that the cause? I don't know. I mean, it damn sure looked like it. They came out real not good. You give up a kick return in the first play and you give up 21 points in the first quarter. That's not good. It's not good at all. You have your offensive line just completely getting that is, to me, that's the biggest story of the game. The biggest story of the game was the fact that JSU's O-line, which looked dominant last week against a team that's known for their defense at South Carolina State, comes this week and FAMU just dominates them. I mean, who thought FAMU's D-line was going to reset the line of scrimmage like that? Every single play, it felt like. Every single play, it felt like they were resetting the line of scrimmage. That was the biggest surprise to me. That was. Musa, I expected him to have a good game. I expected him to look a whole lot better than he did last year. But the resetting of JSU's O-line by FAMU's D-line, that's tough. Then you have John Graves, I think his name, John Graves, who was at JSU. You got to remember, John Graves was going to play for JSU. It committed to TC Taylor, was there, transfers to FAMU. It makes a play in the backfield for FAMU on Jackson State. That's tough. That's tough. Did you guys see John Huggins? So I was told John Huggins, it got announced he was back in the transfer portal, and I got told like a few days ago, probably like Wednesday or Thursday, that Huggins was back in Jackson. I didn't think we'd see him this game, though. I didn't think I'd see him go out there and get a tackle. You know what I'm saying? Like, that surprised me. Seeing John Huggins on the field that soon after just getting to Jackson this week, that was a bit of a surprise. Let me read some of your comments. It says, Jeff, teams eat what Nick Saban calls the rat poison, causing them to assume they're going to dominate the next opponent. Was that the case with JSU? Or was FAMU just that much better than them? Because the score was 28-10, but it felt way more lopsided than that. FAMU left a bunch of points on the board. Martin is hurt. Where was Seven? Where was Martin? That was my question. And from what I understand, Seven and Martin are both still injured. JD Martin, they could have used him, his scat back ability, but Irv Mulligan was the best player for JSU today. So it really wasn't a lack of not having a running back. Zy McDonald came in and gave the offense a spark. His running ability, him being able to be mobile with how ferocious that FAMU defensive line was doing, the Jackson State offensive line, that's why Zy McDonald made a lot of sense, because the JSU offensive line was getting dominated, and therefore having a guy like Zy McDonald and his mobility helped them a ton. It helped them a lot. It helped them, make plays when Jason Brown just couldn't. There were certain plays he just couldn't make. He tried to run a couple of times, but he got hit. He was getting hit. I mean, Jason Brown was getting hit. I mean, he got fumbled one time. There was guys getting unblocked, like leaving guys unblocked. Like just the total lack of discipline this game, the total lack of awareness in it. Just like you weren't prepared. That is what was surprising to me from the JSU side of things. It's like after having such a dominant performance on national TV in your coach's first game, you come back the next week against a team in a game that has end of season implications. See, that's the thing about this game. Albeit it's week 1 of college football, albeit it's only the second game of the year for JSU, the first game of the year for FAMU, this game has end of year implications because the winner of this game is in the driver's seat. The winner of this game has gone on to host the SWAC championship, win a SWAC championship, and play in the Celebration Bowl the last 2 years. That's why this game is important. That's why this game matters. That's why FAMU was so excited about winning, because now they know they control their own destiny. If they go out and put together focuses, put together game plans, the way that they put together this game plan, they will beat every SWAC team by 18 points. They will be there. There will not be another SWAC team that comes within 18 points of them, because they're that talented. They're that talented. Their defense flies around. Their wide receivers can make plays. Their running backs, the upgrade in running backs and offensive line is just massive. That's just massive. Scotty's going to have a field. I'm sure he's over there going crazy right now. I can imagine. As JSU, you got to bounce back because you have another SWAC East game next week against Southern on the road. You're back on the road, and it's a must-win game. It is a must-win game. You cannot lose 2 games in the SWAC East and think you have any chance of playing for a SWAC championship. You have to win next week. And Southern didn't look impressive at all, so it's not like it's not a winnable game. But you're going to have to figure out how to stop the run, and you're going to have to figure out what kind of defense you want to run. Because that three down lineman, it's not working. The 3-4 sets with the 4 linebackers and the 3 down linemen, that does not work. South Carolina State had success running the ball against it. FAMU dominated running the ball against it. You're going to have to figure something out. But you're going to have to figure it out fast because your turnaround is only 6 days. You play today on Sunday. You got a game next week in Baton Rouge against your hated rival, who is coming off a loss as well, and who also needs to win this game if they want any chance of competing for a SWAC East title. Fam, let me read some more of your comments. It says FAMU is going to overlook someone and get got. You better hope so. But they seem pretty like first game. It's just one game. It is one game. But I don't know. I think Coach Simmons understands the magnitude of this year. I mean, that's the one thing I really took away when I got to talk to him. He understands how big this year is. He understands that he has a 6th-year quarterback. He understands that he went out and recruited the team that you saw on the field today. He understands that he has all the pieces in place to win a SWAC championship. And so with that, does he overlook someone? I don't think so. I don't think he's in the business of overlooking anyone with the way things have gone for him at FAMU so far. He's had great success, but he hasn't had the ultimate success. No, I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't say JSU's OC is bad because last week we were praising him as the best offense coordinator in the SWAC. I can't sit here and say he sucks when he put on a clinic last week as far as play calling and where to go. So I can't come on here this week and say he's bad. No, I'm not gonna do that. Who is overconfident? We will see who's overconfident. And maybe they did. And this I can't, because they thought, like, some people crown champions after week 0. They looked that good to where some people felt that you could crown a SWAC champion after week 0. We found out today that is not the case. That is not the case. And FAMU, they look great. Simmons might have saved his job with this game. We got to see how the rest of the year goes. I don't think, and the fact that people think that they should have or will fire Willie Simmons or should fire Willie Simmons, that blows my mind. Because Willie Simmons can coach. He can coach. He knows offense, the play schemes. Things were happening. But we do have a long football. They got 11 games left. This is just one game. But this was a big, big win for them. I always find a way to mess up. Whoa, okay. I have to wait and see how that happens. They'll need to lose twice. They will have to lose twice because they have the tiebreaker over JSU. So JSU will have to continue winning and not lose another SWAC game, and they will need some help from the Rattlers. They will need FAMU to lose twice. Yes, you're right. Talk is cheap. Show me. It's the DC. I see, and I like Bradley. Just, you got to get away from those 3-man fronts. Last week, the OC didn't draw no plays vertically down the field. Well, no, I will say they had some plays vertically, but it's hard to throw a deep ball when you're getting pressure. You see JB tried to throw one, his arm got hit. You see he was getting smacked around. That's when he messed up his hand. So it's hard to go vertical, go have a bunch of vertical routes, because those take time to develop. Those take time from your offensive line. Those take time from the guys blocking. It's hard to throw a 40-yard pass when you're having guys breathe down your neck, having guys breathe on you, touch on you, grab on you, tug on you, push you down. It's tough to go vertical. It is really tough. Let's see. Everything's up for grass in this SWAC. There's no clear. No. There is a clear front runner. FAMU's the clear front runner. Like let's know. There is a clear. That's not to say they can't lose twice, but FAMU's in the driver's seat. FAMU is they the lead rabbit in the show, in the circus. FAMU's the front runner. Whether they stay that way is yet to be seen. But FAMU is the front runner. Moose is not elite, but he's the closest thing to SWAC. I don't know. I don't know about that, because Musa left a lot to be desired today. He started off on fire. Don't get it twisted. He started off on freaking fire. But after that first quarter, he looked real pedestrian. What saved them from this game being even closer, possibly, or JS, is the fact that they could run the hell out of the ball. That offensive line is what saved them. Those running backs are what saved them. Musa, I don't know if he's anything close to elite. I'm just being honest. I had higher like, Musa did not impress me today. The first 2 drives, he looked good. He had 3 touchdowns in the first quarter or first half. He looked good. After that, you can't get worse as the game goes on. You have to be able, and that's the thing. If FAMU is going to slip up the rest of this year, they need to do it twice if JSU still wants a chance. And 2, it will probably be, if it happens, it probably will be because their quarterback slips up somewhere. That's because now, I won't go that far. I won't say that he was garbage. He wasn't great. Okay, I might have read your comment. That's my point. We need them to run more quick routes, in slants, tight. Okay, so I can agree with you on this. Because of the pressure from FAMU. I do think shorter routes, quicker inverting routes would have been great. They would have been great. Get the ball in the hands of Isaiah Spencer. Let him do some work. Get the ball in the hands. Continue to get the ball in the hands of Rico Powers. He's a star. Rico's a star. I think so. And so Isaiah Spencer is a budding star. I think so. So you have Irv Mulligan is a star. I think so. You have to get the ball in those guys' hands. Zion McDonald, that's why it's going to be interesting to see what card they play moving forward. Because like I said, with Zion McDonald, you get that added element of run. The quarterback run game is there. The quarterback run game is there with Zion McDonald. It's not there at all with Jason Brown. And Zion McDonald can spin it. That's the thing. Like a lot of times when you get mobile quarterbacks that can really run like he can, you don't expect to see that spiral. Those guys, I mean, he was dropping dimes. He was doing what JB couldn't do, which was drop dimes, like dropping straight down. That ball to Rico Powers was perfect. It was perfect. And even with that FAMU line breathing down his neck, he was getting the ball out of his hands. That was impressive, man. That was impressive. You said Grayson needs an opportunity if Jason's hurt. No. You got to stick with Zai. If Jason's hurt, you stick with Zai. If Jason's hurt, you stick with Zai McDonald. I don't think you go to Grayson Thompson. Remember I told you, the Rattlers are coming. They can't. The Rattlers strike, and strike again. Tiffany Green, you could tell Tiffany Green. That's why she's a pro. You could tell Tiffany Green really wanted to get turned because FAMU was doing so well. She really wanted to get hyped, like be a fan. You could hear it in her voice, but she's a pro, so she kept it neutral. But man, I know she was in there going crazy. Who's under more pressure for East title, JSU or FAMU? Well, it's got to be FAMU because now they have the inside track. Now they're the favorites. Now they control their own destiny. They have to lose twice to 2 SWAC teams for JSU to have a chance of winning the SWAC East. And JSU has to run the table. JSU can't lose another SWAC game. Not necessarily to the SWAC East. I know somebody said Southern's in the West. They are in the West, but they're a SWAC team. And so Jackson State can't lose to a SWAC team anymore. They have to run the table. They have to run the table against the rest of the conference if they want any chance of winning or even playing in the SWAC championship, let alone winning it or hosting a SWAC championship game. Whereas FAMU has the inside track, and it looks like as of now, right now, with them having the inside track, we could be seeing a SWAC championship game hosted in the highest of 7 hills. The Southern game is a non-conference. Thank you for that. It is a non-conference. I forgot about that. It is a non-conference. So, but you still don't want to lose. You still don't want to lose to your rival Southern next week in Baton Rouge. So you have to be able to do some things. Yes, he is a true dude. I mean, I like what I saw out of Zion McDonald, man. Like, and here's the thing about some players, and I don't like Jason Brown. They say he beat out Zai for the starting quarterback job. And I get it. Like, beating someone out happens during practice, but some guys are just gamers. Like, they just get in the game and they play better than what they do at practice, what they show at practice. I'm not saying that's the case with Zai McDonald. I just like what I saw. I just like the fact that he gives you that ability to run, but he keeps his eyes down the field. And the only life of offense that you got were the 4 drives he was in. You get a field goal, you get a touchdown, and then you're driving for more points until the fumble by Irv Mulligan happens. So I think the combination of Zai and Irv as your quarterback running back, it might be the move, especially if teams are able to beat you up on your offensive line. If defensive lines are getting the best of your offensive line, Zion McDonald might be the move, man. Zion McDonald might be the move, man. But that's all I have today, man. That's all. I just wanted a quick post game. I couldn't get my call line to work, so we'll have to figure that out. But quick thoughts on the 2023 Orange Blossom Classic. Congratulations to Coach Willie Simmons and the FAMU Rattlers for the dominant 28-10 win over Jackson State. Once again, my name is JeffLightsYJr. here with the Victor Formation Sports Show. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, and the notification bell. Also, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at JLightsy7. That is on Instagram and Twitter at JLightsy7. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Peace.